again, everybody. Today my plan is to read you an extract from my journal which details the progress of my unrequited love affair with YouTube. I go onto my YouTube channel to implement the changes I think I need to make in order for the algorithm to broadcast my pathetic little works. It seems that I have to use keywords in my titles and descriptions that other people use who make similar videos to mine. I have discovered the weird and monstrous virtual community dubbed AuthorTube. This is a keyword which seems to have sprung spontaneously into existence for use by aspiring authors who want to build up an audience. When I use it as a search term, I am presented with a load of videos about how to write. Teaching people how to write when you are an aspiring author seems like rather a lame thing to do. I was hoping it would be more about, here are some examples of what I can write. I do not want to join the toxic world of AuthorTube, which appears to be full of backbiting and pretentiousness. If I must be pretentious, let me at least be it on my own behalf. Maybe there are no search terms to describe what I want to do. Maybe nobody is interested in hearing someone read aloud from their writings. I settle for story and what happens when, and update all my descriptions accordingly. Now all I have to do is wait and see if I get any more views. While I am thus preoccupied, YouTube suddenly changes the settings for how videos are viewed. Up until now, the screen has been of a fairly small video in the top left-hand corner of the screen, with the author description and the viewer comments underneath it, and on the right, a column of suggested videos based on your viewing history and whatever else YouTube wants to push at you. That column has been displaced downwards, and now the video takes up most of the screen. I wonder if I have clicked into full screen mode by mistake. But I haven't. This is the new view. I also find an email in my inbox from YouTube informing me that they will soon be monetizing every video they feel like monetizing, whether or not the creator has already monetized it. This is a bombshell. Not like the ones the Israelis are using, obviously. I had previously been writing about the Israelis in this diary entry. Not like the ones the Israelis are using, obviously, but still devastating in its own small way. When YouTube first came on the scene, it was small and welcoming. Ordinary people were being offered the unprecedented chance to broadcast to the general public. All you needed to do was to learn how to use some video editing software, and you too could share your travelogues or your funny experiments or your dog's clever tricks. There were a few people who shot to fame and attracted huge numbers of views, amassing a loyal and protective audience who would defend them to the death in a virtual kind of way. There were viewers who made it a hobby to post sniping comments, but if you presented in the right way and spoke to enough people, your supporters would come to your defense, and those trolls became insignificant. Attracting viewers became a huge obsession. Charming young things would be making special videos about having reached their first 1,000 subscribers, and others would cheer them on. Your thumbnail was an obvious viewer draw, but you couldn't choose it, so you were at the mercy of the whims of the invisible machine. Then YouTubers started posting how-to videos because they had sussed that the algorithm was picking up a still from the very center point of your video and making it into a thumbnail. So then you had to find a way to work out the exact center during editing, and because it was impossible to be really precise, you would insert a 5-second still at that point and hope it would be picked up by YouTube's software. Eventually, an option to upload your own thumbnail appeared. Various other refinements came along, such as widescreen and high definition, and upload speeds became more efficient. When monetizing began, some YouTubers jumped at the chance to make a bit of money in return for their creative efforts, and others made indignant announcements about how YouTube was going down the pan and they weren't going to participate anymore. When Google took over and insisted that you could only use a Google account to log into your YouTube account, I felt rather manipulated. I created several different Google accounts in my confusion and my desire to avoid being told what to do. Of course, now it's a case of one account, all of Google, so you can link everything from your phone to your PC and beyond. But I don't participate because I never know which of my Google accounts I'm using. Being a Luddite has its disadvantages. At one point, I also gave in and signed up for monetization. My Bates eyesight videos were doing reasonably well. I never got millions of views, but for a year or two I was getting a small income from that. When I decided to move away from Bates' method and branch out into gardening, I tried to continue the monetization, but something went wrong somewhere, and I never achieved the requisite number of views in any case. YouTube informed me that I was no longer eligible for monetization. And now, with my literary channel, which has about 7 subscribers so far, I haven't got a hope. I don't even intend to attempt monetization. I actually resent the constant advertising bombardment, particularly since YouTube seems to have adopted a policy of pushing the exact same advert over and over again, often 3 times within the same video. I resent the cheery Antipodean lady who promotes Hello Fresh to such an extent that I will never consider signing up for the service. Never, ever, ever. Even if it's the only way to get any kind of food. I will starve. Sod you, YouTube. So now the company has announced its intention to make money off every single user of its platform, whether or not the user gets a share of the proceeds, and whether or not the user wishes to have their work peppered with commerce. Added to that, the company seems to have taken it upon itself to police what people are allowed to say. It's a popular belief that if you mention the word coronavirus, your video is demonetized. Copyrighted songs are not allowed to be monetized, but I know from personal experience that the machine can flag uncopyrighted songs and make royalty claims on behalf of third parties, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you mention certain other things which are considered politically incorrect, your video can get taken down or shadow bombed so that nobody ever gets to see it, and your subscribers can be unsubscribed en masse, or so it is alleged, by paranoid YouTubers wondering how to explain the sudden changes in their viewer statistics. And YouTube is so vast, hiding behind its electronic fortifications, that you can't ever get a proper dialogue with anyone representing it. It has become a law unto itself, and it makes its own rather mysterious laws as it goes along. You might argue that Google has to be paid for the service it provides. The truth of that is undeniable. The problem, though, is that YouTube is a monopoly. It holds a vast video library of valuable resources, from lectures to discussions to how-to demonstrations to practically any popular song you care to think of that has ever been recorded, and it has taken all these things into itself and monopolized the custodianship of them. Nobody can simply say, I don't need YouTube, without severely limiting their own access to the information that only YouTube has to offer. There are other video hosting platforms, but none so accessible or so all-inclusive. I am thoroughly disheartened to see how every single electronic advancement has led us all ever deeper into having to take on board things we never wanted to sign up for, being controlled by the machine. I wish I could just go and live in a mud hut and eat wild animals. But YouTube still has what I want, so what am I going to do about it?